This podcast is powered by the pros at Paschal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPaschal.com.
Busy Thursday, man. You got a lot going on today. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I hope you're doing good. I guess you're in Greenville, but yeah, it's a busy time. You got the women's SEC basketball tournament. The men are finishing up at Alabama. Spring football started. You got the NCAA track and field championships this weekend in Boston, and both Arkansas teams are defending champions and ranked number one. Got softball, baseball, and it's gymnastics. I'm probably leaving something out, but it's a busy time of the year, maybe the busiest, with all the sports converging.
Certainly is. Now, I know you were in on some of the media sessions with players earlier today. Who did you get a chance to talk to?
Let's see. We talked to Andrew Armstrong, a wide receiver who's back. We talked to Landon Jackson, who's probably going to be a preseason All-SEC defensive end. He's a guy that could have gone in the NFL draft. He decided to come back out. That was huge for Arkansas. And then we talked to Brad Spence, who's a returning linebacker who is running, with all the changes they had, linebacker guys leaving for the portal. He's been getting first-team reps. So, yeah, we talked to all those guys.
Tell me, did you have a chance to watch practice? Because I don't know if you were in the building or not, because this is the year you get a chance to watch all of it. Were you in there?
Yeah, it rains here in Fayetteville. Not like sleeting snow or anything, but it went real nice outside. So they went in the Walker Pavilion, and I got there a little late because I was working late after the basketball game last night doing some stuff. But I got in there and watched probably an hour. And of course they're going in shorts and jerseys and shoulder pads and helmets. But I guess a couple things struck me. It was just interesting, I guess is a good word, to see Bobby Petrino back out there in Arkansas gear to practice. He's obviously not the head coach like he was from, I guess, 2008 to 2011, but he's out there and he's clearly running the offense. And Pittman's made that really clear. It's Bobby's offense. He's going to run a hasty spin, which honestly was not something he got to do at A&M. Jimbo Fisher didn't really. Bobby went there and had to adjust to their terminology, which is kind of an odd way to do things. But that's Jimbo Fisher, who I don't really think wanted. No offense, but he didn't want to hire an offensive coordinator. He wanted to keep running the offense, but he basically was told to do it. But it was interesting to see Bobby back out there, and he seemed. The part I was watching, he seemed like he was, coaching them up. He wasn't screaming, yelling, and freaking out or anything. Yelling at guys. Of course, it's the first day of practice, but he seemed very calm and collected. And I got to watch the offensive line. Some Eric Mateos, new offensive line coach. They were having pretty intense, work on the side. Doing position drills. Of course, it's really hard to tell about the defensive and offensive lines when you're not at full pace. You don't have contact, but look like those guys are buying in. We know they got a lot of new offensive linemen, and we got to see Taylor Green, the new quarterback from Boise State. He ran some plays. Again, the quarterbacks are not getting hit, but he looked like very mobile, good arm. So those are just kind of some initial observations, I guess.
Hey, Bob, do you get a sense that it's a true QB competition with Green and Criswell or whoever it could be, or do you think it's Green's to lose?
I think based on what Green did at Boise State, he's the most experienced guy, and I don't think they brought him in here to have competition, and I think there is to a certain degree he's perceived as a front runner, and so he kind of has. It's his job to lose, so to speak. But I do think there'll be real competition because, Bobby Petrino's a new coordinator. It's not like one of these guys was, quote, his guy. And I think they like him all, or else they wouldn't have brought him in. And obviously, Criswell's in his second year, and you got, Malachi Singleton is in his second year. But, I think Bobby's going to push those guys and put them in tough situations and figure out who handles the pressure the best, and who can make the checks you want, and all those kinds of things. But I think it'll be real competition. Which is interesting because KJ held down the position for I guess the last 3 years, and then before that they brought in Felipe Franks from Florida, and it was pretty obvious he would be the starter because KJ that point I think was a redshirt freshman, and we saw Chad Morris's teams change quarterbacks very often, kind of revolving door there. And so, no, I think you'll see real competition because they want to push guys and see who performs the best.
Bob, I think it's really interesting sometimes on like how who goes to speak to the media first, because these are decisions. I know that SIDs are part of that, but they got to get clearance from coaches on this too. Armstrong makes perfect sense. Leading receiver returning this year. May end up being a team captain. Landon Jackson, obvious reasons. Brad Spence, I would not have expected that. They put him as the one of two defensive players to speak the first day of spring practice. And I know Sam has talked about some of the younger linebackers that are returning, that are part of the linebacking core from last year that played a little bit. Spence is one of them. I think he had an interception return for a touchdown the first game of the year. But, that's a position of need still. I think they're still going to go into the portal and find somebody once the portal opens again. But I find it interesting that Spence was out there to talk, which to me tells us that they want him to be one of the starters. They want him to win a job.
Yeah, one of the guys might have requested him, but yeah, they're not going to put a guy there that they think is not going to be one of their key players. And of course, we saw so much turnover there. And also, you want a guy that feels comfortable talking in front of the media. It's one thing if a guy's talking to somebody one-on-one. It's another thing if there's always everybody's filming it and they're going to post on the internet, 15 minutes and all those kinds of things. But yeah, I thought they all did a good job of handling things. One of the more interesting things was, of course, Armstrong is a receiver, but somebody asked him just overall thoughts on the offense, and he said, I think I got this right. I don't have it in front of me, but he said the offensive line looked beautiful, which I don't think we heard that a lot last year, probably never. But it's good to show sport. I mean, it's like spring training in baseball, right? Everybody's undefeated, everybody's feeling good, everybody thinks they're going to win the pennant. But you do feel like there's a new vibe. Obviously, Bobby Petrino, he's an elite coordinator and play caller, and being back in Arkansas is a pretty unique situation. Somebody was telling me about it the other day, and I just really couldn't come up with another parallel where a coach had been fired and then, welcome back. And I think it's a good move because he's an elite offensive coordinator, but it'll be interesting to see how it works. But, yeah, there just seems you got some new blood out there. Obviously, you got a lot of transfers, and you got a lot of the freshman signees now. It's not required, but it's more the majority of them are reporting at semester so they can get a jump start on their college careers. But yeah, there's a lot of new guys and some new excitement, and we'll see how that plays out. But right now, everything's beautiful, as Andrew Armstrong said.
I like it. A little beauty last night in Bud Walton. Khalif Battle has just been putting on a show. But what were your thoughts last night on how the Hogs responded to LSU?
Man, they played really well. I mean, I think they were a 2 or 3 point favorite. Based on what I saw on one of the betting lines. But yeah, Arkansas. It was funny. It was almost a reversal of what happened to Arkansas at LSU. Arkansas didn't win by 21, but in the game down in Baton Rouge, that LSU won 95-74, and I think Arkansas scored the last 7 points. So that was a real lopsided game. LSU led for just like 37 minutes and 8 seconds. Don't have the box in front of me, but I think that's right. And they, and Arkansas last night led for like 37 minutes and 50-something seconds. So both teams, Arkansas I think Arkansas took the lead for good with like 16 minutes left in the first half on LS jumper. So Arkansas was pretty, they weren't in total control of the game because they got out to 12 and then LSU cut it to 4, but they led for the last, 36 minutes basically. So, and they led by as much as 16, and LSU hung in there, but I think it was a real good win for Arkansas because LSU had been playing well. They'd won 4 or 5. They'd beaten Kentucky in Baton Rouge, and they'd gone to South Carolina and won just a shocking game. This one, South Carolina was playing really well. So LSU had some quality victories, and of course they already laid it on Arkansas pretty good, beating them by 21. And so I think that was a real good win for Arkansas's confidence. They did the senior honor stuff after the game, so you can imagine how awkward, bad, whatever you want to say it would have been if the players had. It was very quick, thankfully, because we're on deadline and everything. But you can imagine what that ceremony would have been like if Arkansas lost. And I give the fans credit. You know, the ones who came out, a lot of them stayed for the ceremony, cheered on the players. Thankfully, it was very quick. I'm sure the players appreciated it. It was just a feel good night for Arkansas senior night. The seniors played a big role in the game, and I thought that was one of the better wins of the year.
Tennessee's the best team in this league right now, and I wasn't saying it even close, but maybe there's a couple other teams that are playing well you could put up against them, but the kind of run that Tennessee is on right now, and that would be independent of whether or not they defeat Kentucky, because that's who they finish up against. Even if they don't win the SEC tournament, do you think Tennessee has done enough to earn a number one seed? There's a couple other programs out there. I think the number 1, 2, 3 top seeds are probably spoken for. Tennessee, I think right now has an edge on Arizona, Iowa State, maybe North Carolina too, but they look like a real contender.
Yeah, I mean, they've always played elite defense and been able to grind games out and frustrate the team, but they haven't been super effective on offense, and that's where Dalton Connect, transfer from Northern Colorado, I guess, he's taken them to another level because, they're a much better offensive team when he's in the game. He can just score in a variety of ways. Obviously, he's got a great jump shot, and he can go to the hole, and he just kind of glides in there. And he kind of had some Khalif Battle kind of games in terms of scoring earlier in the season. Now maybe teams are focusing more on him, and I think he's a pretty good passer too, and that frees up. He definitely creates shot opportunities for his teammates because he's going to get so much attention. But yeah, I really like. Yeah, I think Tennessee should be a number one seed. I mean, the SEC is really good this year, and they've had some really good wins, and I think they're super talented. They've got older players. They've got I guess Connect's older, but he's a new guy, and they've got a lot of players that have been through the war, so to speak. And so yeah, I really like Tennessee as a team.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.